ಬಂದಿದೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಹಿರಿಯರ ವಾಣಿ, ಹಿರಿಯರೇ ಇತರ ರಾಜ ರಾಣಿ. ಹತ್ತೋಣ ನಾವು ಅವರ ನೆನಪಿನ ದೋಣಿ, ಕೇಳುತ್ತಾ ಖುಷಿ ಪಡೋಣ ಹಿರಿಯರ ವಾಣಿ. ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಖುಷಿ ಪಡೋಣ ಹಿರಿಯರ ವಾಣಿ, ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಖುಷಿ ಪಡೋಣ ಹಿರಿಯರ ವಾಣಿ. ಇದು ಹಿರಿಯರ ಕತೆ ಹಿರಿಯರ ಜೊತೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಿರಿಯರ ವಾಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಇರಿ, ಖುಷಿಯಾಗಿರಿ.
Hello listeners, this is your RJ Lalita Rao and I welcome you all to Anubhav, a joint project of National Institute of Social Defence, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India and Media for Community Foundation, implemented by Nightingales Medical Trust. Project conceived by Dr. R. Sridhar, Project Investigator Alok Verma, Coordinators Pooja Murada, Sai Sudha and Kaushalya. Government of India has initiated elderly toll-free number 14567. Elders or anyone on behalf of elders can call between morning 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for any questions, queries and support to elderly. Tails coiled round snakes. Snakes are reptiles crawling and slithering. Many carry poison, and if they bite, it can be fatal. As mammals, we human beings in no way are directly connected with them, but there is a lot of connection with serpents in our stories and mythology. Some famous songs and some cinemas are produced showing snakes woven round human lives. In our mythology, Raja Parikshit once went hunting and he lost his group and was left alone. He was thirsty and went in search of water. He came across an ashram and saw a man sitting with his eyes closed near the hermitage. The king asked if he could get some water to drink. There was no response. He got angry and he found a dead snake lying nearby, which he took and put it round the man's neck and was about to return. The man sitting near the hermitage was a sage sitting in meditation, and he was oblivious to all around him. His son, who had gone out, came back to see his father with a dead snake round his neck. He was furious and he cursed that the person responsible for this will die of snake bite. The king heard it and was frightened. He built a lake and in the center of it constructed a stone palace without doors or windows and stayed in it, hoping he could escape being bitten by the snake. One day, while he was eating a fruit, a small worm came out and it turned into a big serpent and bit him, killed him. We are not sure how much is true. We in India have a lot to do with snakes. We have a festival, Naga Chaturthi, Naga Panchami, when we, especially the ladies, go to the anthills, which are abodes of snakes, and do puja. There are stones installed under peepal trees in temples with statues of snakes, which are worshipped by the Hindu couples who have no progeny and are made to do puja to get children here. This way, a lot of connection exists in Hindu with the serpents. I wonder if it is because they are sensuous creatures and we are to overcome that quality, or is it that the coiled snakes on the stones resemble the DNA present in our chromosomes? I wonder, but this took me back to my childhood. We were living in Mangalore. The house we lived was a very big house with a big garden, and there was at the back a long corridor which housed the storeroom, kitchen and the bathroom. The doors were single and heavy, having a chain which had to be pulled and fastened to a metal ring on the lattice to close the door. That day the cook was on leave, So my mother cleaned up the kitchen at night after dinner and was closing the door. She could not fasten the chain to the ring, and so she called me for help. I came, and both of us pulled it with effort and closed it. We retired for the night. In the morning, when mother opened the kitchen door, she was shocked and called us out. A snake was squashed by the door, which we had so forcefully shut. No wonder we had to exert so much strength. Of course, it was cleaned up by the servants, and then cremation and puja was done, as it was a penance for killing the snake. Then my mother told me a story which her mother had told her. It seems 2 generations back there was a ceremony in the house. Lots of food was prepared, and some cook had placed a hot boiling pot of rice on a coiled snake, thinking it to be a cloth rolled so the pot would not fall off. It was in a dark corner, and that cook must have been in a hurry. Later, it was discovered how the snake was burnt and killed with the heat and the weight of the pot. That night, the master of the house had a dream. An elderly man suffering burns and dying said, "You have killed me. You will be cursed. So do puja as a penance, and you name the firstborn with my name." They did all the rites and named their firstborn as Nagappa, Nagaraj, etc. I understood why my mother's uncle's name was Nagappa. Later, when I got married and went to my husband's place in Bangalore, I heard another interesting story which was similar. That day, I and my mother in law were sitting in the veranda and talking. In the front, in the garden, was a huge champaka tree and one plant known as Nagalinga Pushpa. Their scent was very strong, and they say that snakes would be attracted by them. I spotted a snake which was sliding on the path below. I showed it to my mother-in-law. I was a bit scared, but she said she could not see it and that I need not be afraid, as our family was blessed by Nagaraja, the king of serpents. Of course, my father in law's name was Mr. Nagappa. I was curious and asked her to tell me the reason and the story behind it. Then she narrated the story. It seems an ancestor of my father in law, named Kollappa, who was very religious man, one night dreamt that in his sleep he saw an elderly Brahmin who appeared before him. His right eye was swollen and red. There was something which had gone into his eye. He requested, "Sir, a bamboo piece has got stuck in my eyes and it is very painful. Can you please remove it and relieve me of the pain?" In the morning, Kollappa got up as usual. He finished all his morning duties, bathed, and after his duties went to the god's room to do the puja. He saw an old big serpent lying nearby. Near its eye there was something poking out. The eye was red and swollen. It was having pain, so it was moving very slowly. Kollappa remembered his dream. He took courage and when he looked closely, realized there was a bamboo piece sticking out near the eye. He slowly pulled it out and applied chandan paste, which was ready for the puja, on the head. Placed some milk in a small vessel. It drank the milk and slowly disappeared. That night again, in his dream, Kollappa saw the old man. He said, "Thank you for being brave and relieving me of my pain. I bless your family. We will never harm your generation henceforth." My mother in law said, so they were blessed and would not be harmed by snakes. I don't know what to make of it. Is it a fantasy or is it true? It is hard to say anything. I can say stories and fantasies have taken a different turn now. Such stories and myths are bygones, so also such names. The present generation analyze everything and want scientific explanations for everything. Now the stories and myths are of extraterrestrial creatures, Star Wars, etc. Names of children are unique and extraordinary. How everything changes with time. Time changes everything. Government of India has initiated elderly toll-free number 14567. Elders or anyone on behalf of elders can call between morning 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for any questions, queries and support to elderly.